am striving to become an elite failure practitioner. Right? Did you hear me? I'm striving to become an elite failure practitioner because these are some of the people I most like to study. Right? They may be celebrity chefs, they may be inventors, scientists, but they do failure well. Okay, so come back in time with me. All right. It's about 3 years ago. It's early in the pandemic, and I am meeting by Zoom with some senior executives in a large financial services firm, and they are explaining to me that this whole failure thing, fail fast, fail often, all that cool stuff, they said, that's fine in good times. But in a global economy beset by turmoil as a result of this pandemic, failure, they said, is off limits. Now, I sure empathized, but they have it wrong, right? So it is tempting, and I feel it too, right? It is tempting in challenging and uncertain times to double down on the insistence for excellence, right? For results, for achieving what you want to achieve, to declare failure off limits. But here's the problem. It reflects a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of today's reality. So first, right, in challenging and uncertain times, innovation is more important than ever, and failure comes with the territory. Maybe even more importantly, in uncertain and challenging times, failure is more likely than ever before, right? So what's going to happen when you declare as a senior executive that failure's off limits? It's not going to stop happening, but you won't be hearing about it, right? So it's this basic reality that stuff will happen is going to become even more true in the future. I think we've really shifted, by the way, from a sort of sudden crisis of the arrival of the pandemic to a kind of sustained crisis, if you will, of perpetual challenge, uncertainty, lack of clear line of sight. And so what those executives and what the rest of us need to know is that, yes, there are failures that you should work hard to prevent, right? And there's another kind, right? Just as important, maybe even more important. And I call that other kind of failure the right kind of wrong. Right? And this is the title of my new book, right? The Right Kind of Wrong, The Science of Failing Well. Now, the right kind of wrong are the kind that you actually want. You actually need them. You need more of them to succeed in an uncertain world. Let's call these intelligent failures. And an intelligent failure is basically an experiment that doesn't produce the results you wanted. Thomas Edison was famously approached by one of his lab assistants who said, gosh, sir, this failure thing must be so hard for you. You've failed so many times in your quest to produce the light bulb. He said, failure? I haven't failed. I have discovered 10,000 ways that don't work, right? So that's the right kind of wrong. It is literally on the path to success. So Edison understood this, and all of the rest of us need to understand it as well. We need to internalize it. We need to master, I will argue, the right kind of wrong. I'll talk about the others too, the other kinds of wrong, to succeed in the future. Now, there are 4.5 criteria that distinguish the right kind of wrong from the other kinds of failures. Number one, it is in pursuit of an opportunity. You believe there is an opportunity to advance toward a valued goal. Number two, it is new territory. You cannot just Google it, get the answer. Number three, you have a hypothesis. You've done your homework. You're not just randomly spraying throwing darts at the wall. And number four, and this is one that's so often missed, the homework one is too, as small as possible, right? No bigger than it has to be to learn. And what's the half criterion? You learn from it, right? So opportunity, new territory, hypothesis-driven, small as possible, and you learn from it. So Thomas Edison, any scientist any inventor, any real innovator, they do intelligent failure for a living. But the rest of us need to get comfortable with it as well. We have no way to avoid failures. If you are, say, raising children, right? Writing a book, for that matter. But intelligent failures, I want to argue, this is where the treasures for the future of work lie. They bring valuable new knowledge. They are on the path to success. But let me just very quickly tell you about the other kind. So the first other kind is a basic failure. A basic failure is one that is in known territory and generally caused by a single mistake. Right? There is a recipe, but you didn't follow it. I don't know why, but it didn't get followed. They can be largely prevented through training, teamwork, various failure-proofing techniques, including checklists. Caveat, when used well.